until December of 1945.
You recall the 45 or 44?
44, pardon. Well, in December's trial, they were brought in by groups, and the charges would be read to them, and would say yes or no, ask the accusers if they knew or had any knowledge of all the charges read against them. And by getting their answer, they asked them to sign their name and give their thumbprint, and that ends the trial.
Well, did the cases in December go through the judge advocate's office as you have previously described?
Yes, sir, but the only difference of it is in the ordinary trials up to December, they had prosecutors, judges, clerks, and everything composing a complete court-martial. But in December, just the prosecutor and one interpreter assigned to that particular prosecutor will finish up the case.
Did they take the military police as being the verdict of the court?
Yes, sir.
Now, about how long would that court spend with each individual?
Also not more than 5 minutes, sir.
They would bring these people before the court? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
They would ask them whether they were guilty or not guilty?
No, sir. First they'll ask their name, their address, age, and read their charges.
Did they ask them to explain the case?
Well, to some they did, but to some they just read the charges and said, okay, sign here, and that's all.
Now, 2,000 people that were tried in December, how many would you say pled not guilty?
That's a good half of them, sir.
Half of them, sir? Well, on those cases that pled not guilty, what did the Japanese do with it?
Didn't make any difference, sir.
Did they have any evidence?
No, sir.
Introduce any witnesses?
No, sir.
Have any lawyer?
No, sir.
Have any counsel?
No, sir.
Well, as soon as the person is brought in, and this 5 or 10 minutes elapsed, where would they take those people?
In December, right after the trial, they were just packed on trucks, covered up with canvas, and we drove up to the cemetery.
What cemetery?
To the North Cemetery, sir.
How many people received the death sentence in December 1944?
Also good, about 1,800, sir.
Were those 1,800 taken out to the North?
Yes, sir.
Did you learn what the Japanese did with those people at the North Cemetery?
I heard from the guards of the old Beloved prisons that they were all beheaded. Up on trucks or in buses.
I was speaking of those particular people that you saw executed.
Yes. They were taken out on the cemetery on a bus. All the windows closed up, so they won't be able to see the outside. They were driven up to the North Cemetery, and there they were blindfolded and were unloaded from the truck, and their hands tied in a bag with rope. Then their verdict will be given, or will be read to the accusers by one of the judge advocate officers. Well, after the verdict is given, they're laid to a hole which is about 4 feet deep, and will be put to a sitting position there with their knees bent and the head sticking out. Then whether the guards of the military prisons, which is of the Old Bilibid prison, will behead them with their swords.
Can you state how many of those people that you saw executed were Americans?
During General Yamashita's time, sir?
No, the people that you have just described as having seen executed at the cemetery.
I see good 6 to 7 of them, sir.
You know, there's some